All right, welcome back to the countdown of the 21 best Michigan football games under head coach Jim Harbaugh. Real talk. This is Jeff. Dan, what's going on, dude?
Not much, despite it being the movie Twilight in terms of weather outside right now. Not a bad week. Excited to get back to this.
Yeah, I just cracked open something I've never tried before. It's for those of you that like Voodoo Ranger beer. This is a Danger Beach IPA into my 2022 Big Ten Championship glass. So I'm about to try this. I see you're drinking the Bush Apple.
Yeah, I got this out of a stowaway in my coffers, if you will.
I'm forever jealous.
No, so yeah, my mom had a 30 rack in her laundry room that she forgot about, and beer, honestly, canned beer especially, it lasts about 6 to 9 months after you buy it, ish. And I cracked one open, and I'm like, still tastes delicious, and so I got about 8 left, and they're very precious, each one.
You know what I was doing the last time I had one of those?
I probably can think of it, yeah.
I was watching Donovan Edwards take back-to-back touchdown runs to the house against Ohio State.
There it is. Yeah.
So got a big slate today. We've done games 21 through 12, and then we've done a couple of honorable mentions. Today we're going to give you 2 more honorable mentions and 6 games to get us down to the top 5. Okay. So it's a big slate today, and then maybe we'll have another game at the end of this pod like we did last week. So listen to the end, and you'll hear some of that, some trivia or something. Let's start with the first game, though. It's this is a fun one. It's 2017. This is an honorable mention. Okay, it's Michigan at Indiana. So Michigan is looking for their 500th Big Ten win. Kind of cool. Do you remember a random fact about this game?
Outside of this being my second road game,
we were there.
Yeah,
that is it. We were there for this game. Michigan's number 17 in the country. They're 4-1 on the year. They're traveling to the Indiana Hoosiers, who are 3-2. This game kicked off all Michigan, and Indiana tightened it up, and this game ends up going into overtime. Any other news and notes? Otherwise, take it away with memories and stats and go into this one.
Well, this had kind of, I don't know, going into this game, a little bitter because the previous week, John O'Korn makes his first start and throws 3 interceptions to Michigan State. And in this game, the air attack, if you will, or the passing game is absolutely abysmal. He goes 10 for 20 for 58 yards. So essentially, this entire game is Karan Higdon and his 203 touchdowns, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Michigan essentially wins that off the back of, like I said, Higdon and the defense coming up with an interception to seal it. So it was a frustrating game, and Michigan kind of allowed Indiana to creep back in. But being there, it was a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. And like you said, we were there for this. This is my second road game, and Memorial Stadium is absolutely beautiful, and didn't expect to be hazed or harassed a whole bunch, but we did have a couple of Hoosier fans chime in on us or whatever as we're walking in, but it was a good time, man.
Yeah, from what I remember of that weekend, we drive in. And we get in late on a Friday night, and we pack the hotel with 7 of us. Wait, 2, 4, 6 of us. Yeah, 6 of us. And, we wake up early, and we do our tailgate routine. We're just on the road in a totally different place, not Ann Arbor. And I just remember it being gorgeous out. Like you said, it was a perfect day. Drinks were flowing, tailgate music's going. We had a good time, and obviously, as we go into that game, the sun is fully out. It is a warm day, and we think we're taking this one by the horns. I mean, obviously, coming off that loss against Michigan State, I think we all felt pretty good that we were just going to maybe take care of business here, especially coming off that 2016 season. I think everything's flying high. And unfortunately, Michigan gets themselves in a battle with a 3-2 team. And a couple things that stand out. You talked about Cron Higdon. I mean, literally, Cron Higdon is the entire offense in this game. But Lavert Hill was an absolute dog in this game. He had an interception in the first quarter that was called pass interference. That was BS after rewatching the highlights this week. I'm like, man, it's a tough call. He had another one late in the game, and he also had a blocked field goal. All over the place. Lavert Hill was an absolute beast. And obviously the goal line stand to give us the win here after Cron Higdon basically takes a 30-yard run into the end zone. But Cron Higdon, Lavert Hill get a W on the road. Fun game.
Yeah.
Next honorable mention is the 2015 game at home against Northwest. Oh, real quick. So I had that game ranked 23rd. That was dead last for me. I only ranked 23 games. You did not have it ranked because you didn't even do 23. I think you did only 20 or 21. This next game, honorable mention, 2015 versus Northwestern. Northwestern's 13th in the country. Michigan's 18th in the country. This actually had some big game feels to it. Northwestern had a pretty solid season to this point. Michigan, obviously, the opening season loss to Utah. I think they had just lost to Michigan State as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry. But Michigan had not really necessarily had the best season, but they still have high hopes. And from the very get, J.U. Chesson takes it back, and it's a beatdown. What do you remember from this game?
Yeah, I remember the most I remember from this game is the call of the game where the announcer goes, J.U. Chesson, the opening kickoff. So that for sure. Northwestern in 2015 ends up not, they go 10-3, and when it's all said and done, I looked, they only had 4 road games this schedule, which is absolutely weird outside of their neutral sites. They played at, I believe, Yankee Stadium, or they played at Wrigley Field second to last of the week, and then their bowl games. So they had 2 neutral sites. And they didn't play Ohio State, so that played a part in there to be 10-3. Michigan notches our 3rd straight shutout with this game, and Jordan Lewis had a pick 6. Michigan basically shut Northwestern out completely. They were under 200 yards offense total, and then Willie Henry, Michigan's nose tackle, opposite of Maurice Hurst, whatever, made a few sacks himself. So that's what I remember about the game. But yeah, Chesson and then Jordan Lewis's pick 6. But yeah, it was a lot medium level hype after 3 straight shutouts, and this is a season where they open on the road at Utah and lose close. So they were bouncing back here, and they were playing the Pat Fitzgerald Northwestern team that has a spark type of a year where they bounce back after having an abysmal one. So but yeah.
So yeah, the only thing I remember from this game is J.U. Chesson being a dog. Jake Rudock kind of getting himself familiar with this system and really coming into his own, and the defense obviously showing out at this time. I had this game, weirdly enough, ranked 20th. So if I would have been doing this list by myself, it would have made the top 21. Dan didn't have it ranked, and that's why it's not on the list. But here we go. Number 11. Okay, is the first game on our actual list here. We've already done 21 through 12. Number 11 is the 2015 Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl. You have number 14, Michigan, 10-3 on the year, against number 14, Florida, 10-4 on the year. So a couple of news and notes here. As a lot of people have loved, these Buckeye fans have been loving to point out lately, this is Harbaugh's only bowl win.
Yeah.
It comes in his first season. He loses to Utah, Michigan State, and Ohio State, and just absolutely gives it to Florida here in this bowl game. But it's his only bowl win. Jake Rudock, it's basically going to be his last game. He comes over for 1 season for Michigan. We know this going into it. It's a graduate season. So it's his last game. Anything else you want to know?
Well, yeah, with this game, I was at my buddy Kenny's house up near East Lansing, where he lives, and we kind of woke up the next morning and just kind of watched the game together with our families. And hold on, let me turn down I have the volume on. Hold on one sec. Anyways, yeah, so this game, 41-7, Michigan wins. This was a game, an outcome that didn't expect it. Florida had some injuries at quarterback, so they kind of had, like, I believe their second or third stringer in there. Now, didn't perform very well, and Jake Rudock, I think, with his 3 touchdowns and 278 through the air, I think this was the first Michigan quarterback to reach his level in terms of passing yardage.
3,000 yards.
At the time. And so that was an emotional thing for him at the end there. He got knocked out of the Ohio State game. Bolton State had to come in and fill in. And so Rudock kind of bounced back here to, cap off a good year. And we've always talked about since the beginning of this podcast that Jake Rudock would have flourished in year 2 if he had eligibility. I also remember Davion Smith running hard. Drake Johnson made some moves. J.U. Chesson was torching Vernon Hargraves all afternoon. Grant Perry was hitting the seams, but yeah, I mean, again, Harbaugh's one and only bowl win, and it was just this right here really gave me optimism for 2016 because I didn't expect to beat Florida this badly, but we obviously know what happens. But as of this game right here, man, I was happy.
Yeah, my memories here. I have Vernon Hargraves, a projected top 10 pick in the number 1 corner. Everyone's praising him. And J.U. Chesson absolutely works him, especially in the first quarter, catches him looking. He goes for 5 catches, 118, a touchdown. First off, J.U. Chesson, super underrated Michigan Wolverine, by the way. Mm-hmm. As I went through these 21 games and I've been watching replays, it's like, man, that dude pops off the film. Just J.U. Mm-hmm. Chesson, absolute beast. Yeah. I had this game ranked 12th. You had it 16. It falls at 11 for us on the average here. My lasting memory from this game is obviously that it's Harbaugh's only bowl win, but you said it a second ago. I've said it, and I will say it till the end of time. Jake Rudock needed one more season. It's unfortunate that it's not unfortunate this is his last game. He played 5 years in college, and leaving on this note was good, but boy, oh boy, if he is the quarterback in 2016, I think Michigan is probably competing for a national championship. I think that would have put them over the top. But Michigan wins this 41-7. Anything else you need to say about this game?
No.
Number 10. I'll tell you what. I think through 21-10, I think this is our most common opponent, it feels like.
Yeah.
2018 versus Penn State. So Michigan is number 5 in the country. They're 7-1. They're playing number 14 in the country, Penn State, who's 6-2. So Michigan, to this point, they had only lost 1 week, and it was Notre Dame on the road, 24-17. So Michigan had won 7 in a row coming into this matchup, and they end up winning 10 in a row. Michigan is they are just what's called the revenge tour. It's popping off at this point. Take it away.
Yeah, the revenge tour ensues here. So obviously 2017 is where Saquon Barkley just explodes at home. Michigan doesn't have an answer for him. And you obviously, it was obviously nice to see the avenged loss here. But Shane Patterson, 2 touchdowns, and, efficient through the air, wasn't asked to do a lot. And this is kind of a game where it kind of went how 2022 went last year, where they just relied on the run game and just keep away from Penn State and, get 259 on the ground on 52 carries and, kind of spread the wealth there between Higdon and Chris Evans. Shea Patterson, I just mentioned whatever he had went through the air. He also had one on the ground. Josh Uche made his presence felt. What else am I missing here? McSorley and Tommy Stevens, who came in to back him up. I think he might have got hurt or wasn't performing well. Both of them got picked off. So Michigan just, drug their nuts on their head and didn't let them do anything.
Yeah, this is an absolute beatdown. And, I said this, last week on the pod when we were talking about these Michigan Penn State games. Man, when Harbaugh has this train rolling at home against Penn State, he gets it rolling.
Yeah.
The average margin of victory over these Nittany Lions is absolutely astronomical. He just puts the whooping down at home. obviously Michigan coming into State College this upcoming season, it's something to keep an eye on because they're a much better home team than they are a road team against Penn State. They've got some wins, but still.
Yeah.
My memories here. The DPJ touchdown turns into a Saquon Barkley celebration. As soon as Donovan Peoples-Jones gets that toe drag, he runs out and he's doing the Barkley across the back. That's one of my memories here. Another one, I want to talk about him in a little bit. Spoiler.
Yeah.
He'll get brought up again. Shea Patterson, 3 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Shea, so let's not end this pod without talking about Shea Patterson a little bit. But I thought he was great in this game. Did exactly as he needed to do. And I had this game ranked 14th. You had it ranked 11th. It comes in at number 10 for us. Michigan wins 42-7. It's a beatdown. This one stands the test of time, but it just feels like it blends in because of all the other Penn State victories that we have that are just big like this.
Yeah, real quick too. I forgot to even look at this, and I didn't see it in the highlights when I was reviewing this. So you just mentioned that DPJ did the Barkley. Wasn't this the same game where Chase Winovich did Trace McSorley's celebration too? Like it's like an axe motion or something like that. Was this the same
Maybe.
I was looking in the stat column. McSorley does fumble it, and Winovich is the one who recovers it. So I think
correct. That happens the first quarter or second quarter.
Yeah. So I'll have to rewatch it, and maybe the people listening remember it. But I remember Winovich at one point against Penn State where he basically was taunting McSorley.
Yeah. This was it wouldn't shock me. This was rough. This entire game for Penn State, they couldn't really do anything, and their score came. It was 42-0. Their score came with a minute or two to go. I mean, it was a beatdown. Anything else on this game?
No.
We're inside the top 10. We just gave you 10. Here's 9. The 2019 game at home versus Michigan State. It's important to note, I'm going to give you the date on this game. This game takes place November 16th of 2019. That's important to note for here in a little bit. Spoiler. So Michigan's number 15 in the country. They're 7-2. They're at home against Michigan State, who's 4-5. At this point, Michigan had kind of had a tough time with Michigan State. I believe they were 2-2 coming into this game. They lost in 15, 1-16, lost in 17, and 1-18. So they're literally 2-2. And coming into this game on the season, Michigan had lost at Wisconsin and at Penn State. Both were ranked matchups, so that's kind of important to note. But there was a lot trending on this game. Obviously, Harbaugh, and what his legacy is essentially. You were high on this game. I had it 19. You had it 6. I'm going to let you take it away.
Yeah, and for those, I mean, I've said before, but because of the respect I have for Ohio State's program, I don't have the same respect for Michigan State, and that's probably type of arrogance, the reason why they hate us so much. But fuck Michigan State, and when you win 44-10 against them, inject it in my veins. I'll take it all day. They absolutely dismantle these fools. Lewerke, who had the stupid haircut that looked like Gary Oldman from the Bruce Willis movie, Armageddon, I believe it is. Not Armageddon. Yeah, the other one. Anyways, so he throws 2 picks. Shea Patterson has arguably his best game as a Wolverine. Dropping 4 touchdowns and almost 400 through the air. And this is a game where Michigan only rushes for 83 yards, and they just dismantle them through, obviously the air attack. Ronnie Bell, $150. Donovan Peoples-Jones got a touchdown. And, so this one was just, it felt great. And like I said, it was, I think a lot of the frustration losing 2 games already for Michigan really was resonating a little bit here coming out of the tunnel. And laid the pipe, man. Can't say it enough about this game.
Yeah, the one thing that I think I take away from both this game and this time frame at Michigan, I didn't necessarily have a memory from this game that I think stood out. Obviously, Ronnie Bell had a monster game. You just talked about that a second ago. But the one thing I just remember, Nico Collins and Donovan Peoples-Jones were so good. And really, like, when I start to tell you, if you're a Michigan fan, here are the wide receivers that caught a pass in this game. Ronnie Bell, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Nico Collins, Cornelius Johnson, obviously still on the team, Tariq Black, Mike Sanders still. Like, that's the wide receiver group. I didn't even tell you the tight ends that caught a pass to the running back. Like, those are good players, man. Michigan's had some good wide receivers. Obviously, it hasn't exactly translated. It has lately, but it didn't translate to a lot of success. But boy, oh boy, you know how big of a Nico Collins guy I was back in the time. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, to his credit, was just as good. I look back at these 2018, 2019 games, and I just it's so easy to gloss over because we lived the time and we know what happens to it. But when you're looking at this, you're like, geez, these two just pop off the page, man.
Yeah, and real quick too, the one thing I remember about this game was outside of DPJ kind of contorting his body for his touchdown, reaching over the goal line backwards or whatever. That was kind of cool. And then two, it's 37-10, late, like 7 minutes ago in the fourth quarter, and Shea Patterson rolls to his left, and the entire defense collapses on him, and he throws off his back foot or off, to the side, and just flips it over their head, and Cornelius Johnson just takes it to the house, whatever. So a little salt in the wound there at the end, and I know Michigan, whether it's Michigan or Michigan State, whatever, anytime you have a late touchdown like that to put the stamp on it, if you're on the losing end, it hurts a little bit. And another thing too that kind of bit them in the ass was in was it 2016 whatever, when D'Antonio tried to go for 2 and then Peppers picked up the fumble and took it to the house, and it was like a middle finger to him at the end. But yeah, so can't say it enough. Blowout little brother.
Yeah, this was the crazy thing about this game is it started off 7-0 Michigan State, and Michigan goes on a 44-3 run, just an absolute ass beating. And this is one of Shea Patterson's best games. I said we'll talk about Shea Patterson in a minute. I'm still going to say we'll talk about it in a minute, but this is one of his best career games, if not his best game. Again, we'll talk about him in a minute. But anything else in this game? Michigan wins 44-10.
No, I'm good here.
Number 8, moving right along here. 2019, home against Notre Dame under the lights. It is number 19 Michigan, who's 5-2 on the year, at home against number 8 Notre Dame, who's 5-1 on the year. This was the last matchup between these two. We have not seen another game between these two since, unfortunately. But the game prior to this, in 2018, Notre Dame got the best of Michigan, 24-17 at home. Unfortunately, the next time these two teams will play, unless they were to meet in a college football playoff game, is 2033 and 2034. So still a long time, another 10 years, unless there's a college football playoff game. Kind of weird because this has been one of Michigan's top 3 rivals for 50 years, 25 years, 30 years. I mean, and all of a sudden it's gone, but Michigan is gonna put the whooping down on this one. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, 45-14 at home. Like you said, Notre Dame bested Michigan in South Bend the year prior. And so this was it's not the revenge tour year, but they got the revenge for sure. Ian Book, 8 for 25, 73 yards, threw a touchdown, but obviously not much going there. They even brought in a backup, not much there. Shea Patterson wasn't asked to do a lot, but what he executed when he did. And then again, 300 yards on the ground. Hassan Haskins really popped off. Charbonnet made his mark, and Dylan McCaffrey even threw a touchdown in this too. So another game where Dylan McCaffrey kind of keeps the noise and the buzz going for when it was supposed to be his turn, and so obviously we know how that played out. But Notre Dame turned the ball over, spanked them. I hate Brian Kelly. I've said it before where Brian Kelly apparently has this just respect among his colleagues and peers, and be quite frankly, I hate that little shit. He's a little troll to me, and I made fun of him last year for his fake Cajun accent when he took the LSU job, and he was down there, and he's like, me and my family, and my family on this game, first. So, rub in your face.
Yeah, a couple of things here. So this game takes place October 26th of 2019. So this game takes place before the Michigan State game. Michigan had been coming off of 2 losses. Obviously, I just talked about this seconds ago, at Wisconsin, at Penn State. So at this point, the season feels 5-2 Michigan. How does that usually feel for us? Pretty rough, right?
Yeah.
We're not playing for much.
Early in the year, somewhat, you can't make another mistake.
Yeah. And at that point, we don't really necessarily believe we can beat Ohio State. So at this point, we're like, we still have Michigan State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State to go. We're probably losing all 3 at this point. Like, it just doesn't feel good. And on October 26th, they smacked the absolute shit out of Notre Dame. And then they go on to smack the shit out of Michigan State. So it almost breathes a little bit of life back into us. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, this game is the Hassan Haskins welcome to Michigan football for me. The hurdle in this game, getting his carries, getting his time, really starting to shine. And then I believe it's 2013 Jeremy Gallon against Notre Dame. The spin, broken tackle, run long for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. Sanders still has his own in this game, which is kind of cool. So weirdly enough, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, now a 5th year Sanders still. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, Sanders still scores a touchdown. I had this game 11th. You had it 13th. It falls at 8 for us. It's a beatdown. This was a fun year, 2019. At this point, these last 2 fall months, September was a little rough, but coming into late October into November, we're feeling pretty good heading into Ohio State. This team seems to be rolling at this point.
Yeah.
So anything else for Michigan and Notre Dame?
Yeah, a couple players to note that's on this Notre Dame team. One's Chase Claypool.
Yep.
The other one's Cole Kmet. And then lastly, I think he was just drafted last year, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah by the Cleveland Browns. They also call him Jocker, the Joker.
Yeah, so 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. So there you go. Got a couple names there to peep up at.
Yeah, some studs. You ready for number 7?
Oh yeah.
Number 7. The 2018 Michigan at Michigan State game. You have number 6 Michigan, 7-1 on the year, at number 24 Michigan State, who's 4-3. Michigan's one loss to this point was on the road at Notre Dame, week 1. Take it away.
Yeah, so this one doesn't have a eye-popping score like the last one does in 2019. But here in 2018, this is 2018, correct? Am I looking at that right?
This is 2018. Yep.
2018. So, yeah. So, you're prior to the last one we just talked about. 21-7. The score doesn't necessarily tell the story here. It was kind of I think the weather in this game played a little factor. I think it did rain in this game. So, the air attack didn't really pan out. The Spartans was abysmal on offense, rushing, passing, they couldn't do jack. And, Shea Patterson, got his, but, they, again, relied on Karan Higdon without scoring a touchdown, but he was the bell cow. And, this is a game where, winning on the road is just that more impressive. And the one thing that stands out to me the most in this game is the one catch by Donald Peoples-Jones goes for 79 yards down the sideline. The Michigan State player falls down, and then DPJ does the Paul Bunyan pose in the end zone. And that, to me, was the middle finger and the nail in the coffin. I think that game was pretty much over after that play. But, again, there's nothing to me like beating these assholes and and beating them in their own stadium. And I know the hatred is mutual, and so we were the victors on today.
Yeah, you left out something pretty massive, and I can't believe you didn't touch on it. So, while this game was only 21-7, this was a battle that had been going on since pregame.
Oh,
Devin Bush
yeah.
decides he is going to destroy the midfield logo at Michigan State as the Michigan State players are marching towards him arm in arm and refuse to move. Devin Bush took it upon himself to destroy the midfield logo, and we decided to come into their house and lay it down. The DPJ 79-yard touchdown, the Paul Bunyan pose, Devin Bush revenge tour. This was all in one. This is just a classic hard-nosed Michigan State battle, and this was two straight at East Lansing, 2016 and 2018. Harbaugh was able to pick up wins.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he had dropped two at home at this point, but I had this game ranked 13th. You had it ranked 9th. It falls for number 7 for us, just based off how things fall. Before we move on, this is the last game where we're ever going to talk about Shea Patterson. Opinions on Shea Patterson. Do you think first off, how do you view Shea Patterson? Okay, let's start there.
I kind of view him like I do Jabril Peppers, and I've said it before where people might think I'm a little unfair to him. Shea Patterson, was a 5-star quarterback, went to Ole Miss and transferred to Jim. And this was when he transferred to Michigan. That was about the time where my patience was wearing thin with Jim, because I know a lot of people outside the fan base call Jim Harbaugh the quarterback guru. Jim Harbaugh doesn't call himself that. He just has that track record with quarterbacks, right? And so with this one, you thought that, all right, he's got his quarterback now. He's got a 5-star upside guy. There should be no excuses here. Michigan had, outside the Ohio State game, they had a decent defense, or a defense good enough to go places. Well, they didn't. And with Shea Patterson, he had good games, but then again, it's like it's not all about stats. And when you look at the body of work, it just wasn't that impressive to me. I know it's a team game, and I know the defense, like I just said, whatever, didn't play, live up to the standard that you want. But then again, to me, it's just, I expected more out of him. Like I said, he had the upside, and again, maybe that'd be unfair, but that's where I put him. I know a lot of Michigan fans on Twitter, back him up and say that he was unfairly thought of or regarded. But to me, it's we bought a Rolls Royce, or what we thought was going to be a Rolls Royce, and instead we got a Chrysler Sebring. Maybe that's not a good comparison, but you know what I mean. It was not what I was expecting.
So do you think? Okay, when you were looking back at these 21 games, there's a lot of them that Shea Patterson's a quarterback. I mean, we just went through a nice stretch right there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you change your view at all?
Honestly, no. No, I'm right there. Right there. And this specifically this Michigan State game, I mean, 212 through the air, 2 touchdowns on the road. I mean, it's a nice win. And this Michigan State team we're talking about here in 2019, they're, a Connor Cook or a Kirk Cousins from probably going to the Big Ten Championship, because they had a good defense. Jacob Paschanik, Kenny Wilkes, David Dahl, Joe Bacci, Raekwon Williams, Tyreek Thompson. Those were all guys that were pretty good defenders. I just, I don't know, man. I just thought, I just wanted more.
Yeah, I think you're really fair right now. I don't think you're being unfair. He played, and this is my opinion. Okay, if you don't share this opinion, that's fine. I'm going to give you what I believe were his 10 biggest games.
Okay.
He had 2 against Notre Dame,
mm-hmm.
2 against Michigan State, 2 against Penn State, 2 against Ohio State, in 2 bowl games. He played all of 18 and all of 19. He was 1-1 against Notre Dame, 2-0 against Michigan State, 1-1 against Penn State, 0-2 against Ohio State, 0-2 in bowl games. He was 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a reflection of Shea, or do you think that's a reflection of what Jim Harbaugh was doing in this era, or both?
I think it was a little bit of both, because I know, we are definitely we're frustrated with how the defense was going, especially against Ohio State, and but again, on the flip side of Shea Patterson, when you just not just looking at the stats against Ohio State, I mean, played I know the Penn State game that he lost, I thought that was one of his most grittiest, full throttle, like all chips in, that I thought that was his one of his best performances in terms.
I 1,000% agree.
Right.
Even though this game in 2019 against Michigan State when they went 44-10, 24 of 33, 384 and 4 touchdowns, I'd argue his game at Penn State was better.
Yeah.
It was a loss, obviously. I just remember I'm looking over some of these stats, man. I'm looking over some of these, I watched every single one of these games for the first time. I watched somewhere between 15 to 25 minute recaps on these. And the only thing I could think of was man, Shea's a tough son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
He just is. He's just when I was going back and watching these, I'm like, this dude's really competing, and we're underachieving. But I don't know how much I actually want to put on Shea after I watch some of this. Now, mind you, I'm going through the best games of Harbaugh's era. We're not going through the bad ones. I brought up multiple times how he lost to Notre Dame, he lost to Ohio State, he lost bowl games, he lost at Wisconsin. I mean, there's plenty of losses in there. Don't get me wrong. And I'm sure I'd have to go through those and really look at the stats, be like, oh, he 1 touchdown, 3 picks. But I mean, for the most part, I think there's some fond memories. But I think you're mostly right. But that Penn State game, man, in 2019 on the road, that's as gritty as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else on the top games that we've just done? We've done 11 through 7 before we get to number 6. Honorable mentions, Shea Patterson. Anything else from the 2018-2019 era, because those games are officially done?
No. I know we're running through this, and it's been fun so far, and we're about to get down to game number 6 here, and we're in the meat and potatoes of this, and a lot of fond memories are about to come up, even though a lot of these memories aren't necessarily old.
Yeah, so this next one, 2021 at Penn State. 2021 at Penn State. Number 6, Michigan, 8-1 on the year, versus Penn State, who's 6-3 on the year. This is not a whiteout, but it's hostile. Harbaugh was 1-2 at Penn State coming into this game. They had lost 2 in a row, 2019 and 2020. So it's not looking good for Harbaugh coming into this one. He's got a losing record at Penn State, and they've lost 2 in a row. I have this game ranked 10th. You have it 8th. It's 6th. Take it away.
Yeah, this was a nail biter, man. And to me, we were just talking about Shea Patterson's one of his best performances or best will to win moments against Penn State. And I think for me, K. McNamara comes right in with this one as well. 3 touchdowns, and 2 of them were to Roman Wilson. And quite honestly, I think these are probably 2 of the best throws that K. McNamara ever made as a Michigan Wolverine. I mean, threading the needle with a window, you can't even stick your head in. I mean, it was absolutely insane. On defense, Sean Clifford, I mean, anytime Sean Clifford faced Michigan, whether he won or lost, he just took an absolute shelling. And David Ojabo and Aiden Hutchinson combined 5 sacks in this game. Sean Clifford got his ass destroyed in this one. And obviously, at the very end of the game, Eric Gall takes a crossing route to the house with a few minutes to go, and it's a bittersweet moment because these two are not going to be in the West Division for Iowa. But boy, these do play their asses off, and this was one of those classic Big Ten games, and I'll forever be thankful for this one, because if Michigan loses this game, who knows what happens in Ann Arbor versus Ohio State? We don't know, but this one was definitely a fun one to watch.
I have chills. You don't have to believe me, but I just like remembering this game. A couple things I have down. Penn State's fake punt that was successful was big in this game. Unfortunately, they got greedy and tried a fake field goal, and it did not work.
Silly James Franklin.
Yep. Another memory I have down is the sack party. Aiden Hutchinson, Ajabo, Junior Colson, everybody getting involved here. Woo, this next one. Hey, you already talked about it. Cade McNamara throws an absolute dart to Roman Wilson in the first quarter, I believe, of this game, and it's on Joey Porter. Fun fact, he's getting drafted on Thursday. Absolutely works Joey Porter up the seam, and Cade hits him right on the money. It's a perfect TD. He ends up getting a second one later in this game at the goal line, too, as you talk about. And, of course, the hero play. The crossing route, the drag route, the wide open in the flats. Eric All takes a 7-yard catch on a bum ankle and takes it to the house. This one's big. This one is big. Michigan wasn't doing these types of things 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015. Not one single time have we given you a game on this list in which Michigan is down in the fourth quarter on the road against a ranked opponent and they're winning. That's not happening. Now, Penn State wasn't ranked in this game, but this is a hostile environment. And there was only one thing that you could equate it to, and it's the fact that this team was different. This team, and we've beat this horse on 2021, the team was different. They played to a different standard. Hassan Haskins didn't even have the game of his life in this game. It's a lot of Cade McNamara. And as you alluded to, Cade and Eric All show out. Cade is a gritty SOB in this game, and they're going to be wearing Hawkeye jerseys, but they will 100% always be fondly remembered in Wolverines' hearts for this game. If nothing else, this game. These two showed out, got a W. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing more I can say. It's a huge game. As I said, I had it 10th. You had it 8th. It lands 6th on us, which is even higher than what we even had it. So, 21-17, Michigan beats Penn State, and we're on to the top 5.
Real quick, too, I'm going to be I'm backpedaling just a little bit. So we just talked about the tight window that Cade McNamara threw this.
Yeah.
Going back to our first game that we covered tonight, our 11th spot, Florida 2015. There was a Jake Rudock. I can't believe I didn't remember. There was a Jake Rudock throw in that game, a touchdown pass, where, I mean, the ball was. You have to watch the replay. Do you remember that throw where it just barely made it through?
Who catches it?
I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Chesson. But it was like on the goal line, and Jake Rudock threw that ball. And I mean, if it was a millisecond early or a millisecond late, that ball is getting intercepted or tipped. But when he threw that in there, I just was threading the needle. And that, for some reason, I don't even know why I didn't think about it when we got to the game, but it just reminded me of it now, talking about Cade's throw here to Roman. But yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about Cade literally all day. The one you're talking about has to be a Grant Perry.
Okay, yeah, probably.
It's got to be, because J.U. Cheston's was wide open. So, when it comes to Cade, going into 2022, I thought that Cade deserved to be the starter because he had not lost the job.
Right.
Things obviously transpired. I'm happy with how things went. Unfortunately, I don't like how Cade was kind of treated. I don't think there's really an easy way to go about it, but I mean, legitimately, it was this game right here in the game against Ohio State where I'm like, Cade is the guy. And I understand in a lot of people's eyes, the Georgia game opened their eyes to the fact that Cade isn't the guy. But boy, oh boy, don't let the Georgia game fool you for the fact that Cade McNamara was an absolute baller. This game, and we'll talk about some other ones too, I'm sure, spoiler alert. But boy, oh boy, I'm glad this Penn State game is on here because it brings back great memories. Literally had children when you talk about it. Because again, without that game, who knows where we're at today? It's crazy. Trivia?
Let's do it. You ready?
Where you start next week. Final episode. Okay. We're going to hit you with one honorable mention in our top 5. If I had to guess, a lot of our top 5 will feel very similar to how number 6 was. Very emotional feeling, a lot of memories, a lot of proud feelings. Yeah, don't miss it. It's going to be a good one. I really hope that you've enjoyed this series so far. If you're listening to this episode and you didn't listen to the last 2, I'm glad you listened, but at the same time, go back and listen to them in order. Let us know what games you feel at this point are maybe too high or too low. Games that you feel should have been on the list, maybe an honorable mention that should have made it. I think for the most part, we did our due diligence and really kind of really gave our feelings as far as where games needed to be. But hope you guys are digging this, and we got our last episode next week. And take it away.
All right. So, with it being NFL draft weekend, all these trivia questions I'm about to provide Jeff here are all NFL draft based. So we'll start out with kind of the softball one, so to speak, probably the easiest one. So, out of all the colleges in the NCAA, only 4 teams have 5 number 1 overall picks. Michigan has 2 in its history. Who are they?
Jake Long. Now the other one.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked I don't know this. I'm going to ask for a hint. Do you know the year?
The year Pearl Harbor happened.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, I don't know it.
One of our 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Oh, is it Tom Harmon?
Yep.
He was the number 1 overall pick to what team?
I don't have that for you. I just know it was 1941.
Okay. Cool.
So all these questions are based off of what was on NCAA.com in September of last year. So obviously, since we haven't had a draft since then, so these are all accurate.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So let's go to the next one. Fun. I'll give you not necessarily a trivia question, but I'll give you a fun fact. Alabama has only 1 NFL overall pick, and it was a guy named Harry Gilmer in 1948. So I think that's a fun fact because out of all the talent they've had rolling there, all the natties, all the SEC championships, they've only had 1 overall pick, and it was a guy that was before the Korean War.
Weirdly enough, I'll make a comment to that.
Go ahead.
Most number 1 overall picks, not all, not all, but most, are quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Joe Namath, forgive me, they didn't really have another one until really the 2000 plus after actually post 2015. They didn't really have anybody until just recently. So I'm not shocked by that.
All right. So like I just said, with the first question, there's 4 colleges who have 5 number 1 overall picks. Can you name all 4 colleges?
I'm going to assume I can't, but I'm going to take a stab at some of them.
Okay. Let me give you some hints right off the bat, right? you'll be in the Big 12, Pac-12, SEC, at least for 3 of them.
Well, I'm a little upset you gave me a hint already because I was going to guess Oklahoma already.
Okay, Oklahoma's 1.
Because I knew Kyler and Baker were 2 of them, so I would assume they had other ones. Okay. So what was your hint after that?
Pac-12, SEC.
Oh, USC.
Yep.
They make a lot of sense. SEC. LSU.
No.
Okay, I fit Burrow and Jamarcus Russell.
They have 4.
What is it? 5 we're talking?
Talking about 5, yeah.
Okay. It's not Bama. You told me that.
Right.
Could it potentially be Auburn?
Nope.
Okay. I was thinking Cam Newton. I didn't know where Bo Jackson was drafted. I doubt it's Florida.
Nope.
SEC.
You're close. You're very close.
I'm close with Florida?
Yeah, in terms of geography.
Oh. Is it Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's one more.
In what conference?
You'll get it if I tell you.
Oh.
They were you named them last week in our helmets.
Notre Dame?
Yep. Notre Dame, Oklahoma, USC, and Georgia are the only schools in the NCAA that have 5 number 1 overall picks.
All right, so real quick. Notre Dame was one of them?
Yep.
Do you happen to see the players or no?
I didn't list them down. Actually, I do not.
Okay. I was gonna try and guess one from each. The only one I'd even remotely be able to guess from Notre Dame would be Joe Namath.
No, Namath went to Bama. Remember?
Sorry, not Namath. Gosh.
Joe Montana.
Montana.
Yeah. I'm sure he's one. I'm sure he's one of them.
Okay. And then Georgia, I literally don't have Walker last year. No. Yeah, Walker from last year.
Walker. And what was Stafford?
1. He was 1.
Yeah,
I forgot about Stafford. That's a good one. USC had both Carson Palmer. Leinart wasn't number 1. Vince. Who was number 1 that year? Oh, Mario Williams was number 1.
Yeah, NC State. Yep.
Yeah. And then who was the other one? I already said Oklahoma's number 1 picks. Who else am I forgetting?
Out of Oklahoma?
No. So Oklahoma, Notre Dame, USC, Georgia, and Notre Dame. Is that all of them?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So we'll move on. Washington State has 1 number 1 overall pick in 1993. Who was it?
Washington State?
Yeah.
Dude, first off, I'm a little upset that you're trying to stump me. It's Drew Bledsoe.
Okay, yeah.
I am disgusted right now. You're trying to punk me with the Patriots right in front of me on my own podcast.
Oh, shit. I should have let off with that one.
Drew Bledsoe.
All right, last one here. All right, so Stanford has 4, and they were all quarterbacks. Can you name any of them?
Yes, 1. John Elway.
Okay.
Andrew Luck.
Yep. The other one was a Heisman winning trophy quarterback, and then the other one, you probably won't get it because I didn't know who he was either.
The other one I feel like I should know, and you're going to tell me, and I'm going to like, dang it. Older quarterback.
Yeah, 1971 and then 1954. The 1954 one you probably won't know.
Yeah, it's not Kelly.
No.
No, it's Jim Plunkett.
Yes, sir.
Gosh. All right. Yeah, so Jim Plunkett.
And then the last one is Bobby Garrett.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, neither do I. But I thought it was kind of cool that they're all of them were quarterbacks. I know that's the most popular choice when you're number 1 overall, but
yeah,
I went to school.
Yeah, that is cool. Anything else?
No, that was it. I just thought it'd be cool to the NFL draft.
Yeah. Michigan, I don't think they're going to have a number 1 pick this year. The only one that's really borderline is Mozzie Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking about first-round picks here.
Right. No, I hear you. Like, DJ Turner is a good cornerback, but there's corners everywhere. So he's probably, he's later on the board. Mozzie Smith.
He did help himself with that 40 time.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I mean, Michigan is going to be the middle of the pack.
Olu at center. For whatever reason, there are people sleeping on him. He might be a day 2 find. And if he truly is a day 2 guy, whoever picks him is going to absolutely love him.
Yeah, you're getting a runner-up and then the winner of the Remington and the Outland Trophy in the same season. Like, how he's not anywhere near the first round is amazing to me. So it's either his specs, his his measurables or something weird. But I mean, the dude's an absolute tank, and you're gonna get an offensive lineman who is essentially one of the best running teams in America. So I don't know.
Yeah, and was a captain.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely some solid players. The guy I'm looking out for, I really think Luke Schoonmaker has a chance to be a solid player in the league. I don't know. Mm-hmm. He's a sleeper for me, but I think he makes his way onto a roster and really competes and has a solid NFL career. I think he'll be solid.
I hope so.
Yeah. Anything else, sir?
No, man. Like I said, we got our top 5 next week. I'm really excited.
Yeah, top 5 next week. Our yearly mock draft is tomorrow. So if you're listening to this, you're probably listening to it the day that the mock draft is going to drop. It'll be Wednesday, day before the draft. It'll be myself, Brad, and a special guest. So make sure you listen. It'll be fun times. Appreciate all you guys listening in, and any feedback you got. We'll see you next time. Real talk. Go Blue.